talked to you after several practices. What have you seen from him? What does he bring to the table?
I think Antonio's done a good job of pushing the basketball. He pushes it really well, probably one of the best I've been around as far as pushing the basketball, especially in transition. He forces the wing guys to run, and that's what I like about him. And he can make shots. He's one of those guys who can make spot shots, but he also can make three-point shots on the move. He can make them off the dribble. So that part has been fun.
You'll try to score in transition more now with him.
I think so. With Antonio and Darius, both of those guys can push the ball. Darius can push, but he's also a guy that can pass it up as well. Antonio's more of a push guy and find guys. But I think with both of those guys, with the way they push the basketball, they get our wing guys running and ultimately get our bigs down the middle.
Cuonzo, you're a team that plays very physical, and obviously there are going to be some rules changes with regards to contact. How do you see that impacting your team potentially?
I don't think it changes how we approach the game. We play physical. We try to play physical without fouling. And I've never said we never play a dirty basketball game. We box out the way I was taught as a young guy. We use our arm bar and certain techniques. We always play arm's length defense. We say it all the time, so our guys understand that. So when you're arm's length, that means you're not fouling. So our approach doesn't change, but we make our guys conscious of it because you want to stay aggressive. It's part of our brand, so you got to stay aggressive. And I don't want our guys to be passive.
Coach, you want to get off to a fast start this year, which hadn't happened the last 2 years. How do you approach that with your team? Do you talk to them about it?
I just think more than anything. No, I don't talk to them about it. We approach the game. Guys understand, especially returning guys or new guys trying to find their way. I just think as a coaching staff, you got to get your guys off to a good start. And I think both years are a little different. The first year was a new team. Last year, I just didn't think we played tough at all out the gates. But I think this year, with the competitive practice, you got healthy bodies. That helps. Guys understand their roles. Guys know who's getting shots, know what they're supposed to be. So I think all those things help. So now you go into games understanding that you don't have to change rotation. You don't have to move this guy over here because the guy's injured. But I think right now our guys understand what they need to do to be successful.
Has practice changed at all with Jerron back out on the floor now?
The level has changed, but also it's not only Jerron mainly, but that's a credit to guys like Armani Moore, Josh Richardson. Certain guys play at a high level. They bring a level of energy to a practice. I think what Jerron brings a presence. He raises Jarnell Stokes' level. And those guys compete at a high level, and that's why you see those guys get better because of what you get in practice. And I think that's why Jordan McCray has made tremendous strides. I don't know how many points he'll average for us, but he's a better basketball player because the competition is raised.
How important is it to have that ability to strike quick in transition now, whereas before, last year, early you could get into some scoring droughts?
Well, I think it's very important. I think ultimately you want to be able to push the ball to get easy baskets. Got to be able to throw the ball inside to Jarnell and Jerron, whether those guys posting up or facing up, making moves. But I think we have better shooters on the perimeter. I think we got 2 or 3 guys consistently can knock shots down. So that helps. So now it opens up the interior for those guys to be able to play. I mean, Jordan McCray averaged 19 points a game in SEC play, but for us to be successful, that ball has to be going around that rim some way, shape, or form, going inside.
Coach, last year, you guys ended on a disappointing note. This year, expectations are high, picked 3rd in the SEC. Do you like having those high expectations to start the season?
Thank you.
Well, more than anything, I'd rather be successful. It doesn't really matter where you start or finish, and it's been proven in the past, I think, 3 or 4 years. You finish in 2nd place in the SEC. I don't know if it means much, so which is unfortunate. So for us, it's just being the best team we can become. Competing at a high level on a consistent basis is the most important thing for us, and not get consumed. I've never been a guy, even as a player, to get consumed where somebody ranks you. That doesn't bother me at all. It's how you finish.
Coach, do you think with all the veterans you have on your team, whether the expectations, your chatter is good or bad, you're just set up well to handle all that and focus on the task at hand?
I've always been a guy as a coach to take care of the task at hand. That means doing everything you need to do to be successful in practice, let the game take care of itself, not get consumed with what perception is or what the media prediction, all that. But it happens as young guys with the social media at the level it is today. Because I'm not sure if many of our guys read the newspaper and pick up the paper, but because of social media, they can pick things up and they can see it. And there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, I think any player, you're excited. I mean, you get picked to be on the first team, you're excited about it. Second team, you get excited about that, where they're picking you. I mean, I'm not saying our guys are excited to be picked 3rd in the league, but I mean, just individual accolades. That means you've made progress as a basketball player. I don't know how excited Jarnell is to be picked, 2nd team. All SEC, but it's part of it. So again, we lock in on the things we can control, and that's competing every day.
You coached a season, most of a season with Jarnell and Naaman together, and then a season with just Jarnell. Just what's the difference of the impact of having them both on the court as opposed to just only having one?
Well, both of those guys can play with their back to the basket. They can play against bigger guys, 7-foot guys, 6'5" big guys. They also can face up and make moves off the dribble. So those guys are tough to guard. They can make decisions. They can pass the basketball. So that what makes those two guys tough to guard. And they play well together because when they go high-low, both can pass. They can make decisions. They can dribble the basketball. But they make each other better because they both want to be successful. And again, two guys that have such a humble approach and want to be successful with his team, it helps.
Jordan, you said a little earlier that Duran sitting out last year, all he could do was shoot, basically, and Jordan can see the results of that now. How much better is Duran shooting? What can that add to his game?
Well, I think he's a better shooter, but like I say to Duran all the time, I don't want him to get consumed with shooting jump shots. He has a shot, he has to take his shots, but his bread and butter is making moves off the dribble, posting up, getting big offensive rebounds. That's his game, facilitating the offense. Now, if he has opportunities to score from the three, that's fine. But I don't think he's the guy. He knows how he eats, and he understands as well as Jarnell Stokes. He's probably improved his 15, 17 foot as well as anybody in Jarnell Stokes. But again, here's a guy that understands in order for us to be successful, in order for him to be successful, there are certain things that are required on a consistent basis.
From that standpoint, with the game having progressed like it has, do you feel like that traditional 5 that doesn't like to be outside of 12 feet, likes to be in the post, doesn't want to leave the lane, is almost becoming an extinct type of player?
I hope not. I think success is success. I think if you can score on the blocks, any team that has a guy that can score on the interior, you have a chance to be successful. If somebody has a double team you, and with the way the game's officiated with the rules, it's hard to really guard a guy on the post. If he can back you down and make moves, you have to double team a big physical guy. It's just extremely tough to guard him one-on-one in that area. So we talk to our big guys about taking advantage of that, scoring the ball one-on-one, attacking the rim, being aggressive, forcing the officials to make the calls.
Cuonzo, is it fair to say you think Nashville's a pretty good place to have the SEC tournament settle in?
Well, I think it's a great place, and of course, we're in the state of Tennessee. I think it's great from that standpoint, but I also think it's great because I think as fans, you look forward to going to a certain place on a consistent basis. The fans, the town, everybody expects you to be there, and they look forward to it. I think just like in the Big Ten, they had the Big Ten tournament in Indianapolis. You look forward to it, and I don't think it's so much it gives us a home court advantage, but I just think the fans will like to know we're on a consistent basis.
Would you please address UK situation, reloading with a stockpile of McDonald's guys and the players? Jordan even said it's kind of a slap in the face that a preseason player of the year hadn't even played a game yet.
Again, I don't consume myself with that. We recruit, we develop basketball players, we win games. Congratulations to Kentucky. For recruiting those guys. But at the end of the day, you got to play the game. It's the most important thing. The game has to be played at some point.
Coach, with Jarnell, Jordan, Josh Richards kind of flies under the radar as a 3-year starter, but how much has he improved? We're talking to the players on the team. Everybody seems impressed with the summer he had.
He's gotten better. He continued to get better every year. He's really improved his three-point shot. He's up until this point, he has the best percentage of three-point shooting, shooting about 60%. And I've said it before, he has one of the best pull-up games in my opinion, in college basketball, getting to the lane and making plays. He won a game for his team yesterday, getting to the lane, shooting a pull-up. Well, just a guy that can do a lot of things for you. I think the next step for Josh has been an instinctive scorer, where it's not me having to tell him to score the basketball. A situation requires him to score just naturally where he's scoring the basketball. And I think that's the next step for him.
Just in a pre-practice drill last week, when they were loosening up, Duran was sort of challenging one of the backup guards and competing. Is that part of what he brings to your team as a competitive nature?
Oh yeah, Duran's he's one of the best defenders in college basketball. And I've seen everybody play, but I know this. He's one of the few guys at 6'7", 260 pounds can guard on the perimeter. Legitimately guard guys. I'm not talking about a big guy that a little guard goes around. He can defend. He gets physical with Jordan in practice, and he accepts those challenges. And that's the great thing about him. He can guard multiple positions.
Talk about being an instinctive scorer. How do you get to that point where he's not looking to you to push a button and score?
Well, I think you can get to that point. It's just a matter of what's in you, mentally getting ready. Because I was a guy that scored a lot in high school. When I got to college, my role changed. I didn't score as much as a freshman. I was okay as a sophomore. Then I really started to score my last 2 years. So I just think it's a matter of you doing it, improving your game, and having confidence is the most important thing. Because he's an athlete, he can make a shot, he can get to the rim, so he has the tools to do it, but it's just the confidence in doing it.
What's your point guard situation?
Right now, point guards, I'm excited about it. Antonio Barton, and also Darius Thompson, who's a freshman. Antonio's a transfer from Memphis. Two good basketball players. Two guys can make a decision with the basketball. They can put the ball on the floor and get to the rim, and they can make shots. I think that's the biggest key for us. Those guys can make three-point shots consistently, and they're the type of guys you really can't leave open from the perimeter.
How much better do you anticipate, or how much being able to pressure the basketball on defense, and how much different can you be on defense because of what Antonio might bring to the table?
Well, I think that's the biggest key at that position, at that point guard position, to put a stop to that basketball and disrupt the other team's flow, so to speak. But as well as the point guard, we have to be better on the wings defending, taking away passes on the wings. And we spend a lot of time with our wing guys getting better at knocking passes down because it's probably 75% of the team start their offense on either wing. So if you can take that wing pass away and disrupt the flow of the opposing team's offense, you have a chance.
The officiating rules, they're going to allow you to play that kind of defense with the changes they're talking about hand checks?
Well, we won't change defensively. And like I said, we've always preached arm's length on defense, so you have your distance, so you're not hand checking. Because they'll allow you what they call a hot stove. You can touch and get off. So we'll touch and balance and do what we need to do to be successful defensively. But I mean, it's a physical game. We can say what we want to say. It's a physical game. The game is played at a high level. And I think the guys do a good job officiating that game. And we've talked about certain rules for so long and changing this rule. But I just think it's being consistent. Whatever, in my opinion, whatever it is, let it be from start to finish. So that way, when I'm coaching my guys, they understand this is a rule.